Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really digging into some fascinating materials called How to Talk to People in English.
Hmm.
And it's just packed with practical strategies, but, also some surprisingly profound shifts in perspective that I'm really keen to explore with you. So our mission today really is to pull out those truly impactful nuggets of knowledge, the things that will help you, our listener, not just speak English, but truly connect with others, feel confident, and, genuinely enjoy the process. We're going to try and dismantle some of those common fears, the ones that hold people back, and reveal what really matters when it comes to communication. And here's what we've uncovered. It's quite interesting. You might think it's all about perfect grammar, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our sources, they reveal something far more empowering and, frankly, much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So let's want to unpack this. The core idea, right from the start of the material, is this mindset shift.
Yeah.
The book argues pretty directly that communication is not about perfection. It's about connection. And that immediately challenges that deep fear of making mistakes.
Yeah.
A fear that, let's be honest, it paralyzes so many learners. How does the source tackle that roadblock?
Well, that's such a crucial place to start, isn't it? And what's really illuminating, I think, is how the source completely redefines fluency.
Okay.
It's not about talking super fast, or having no accent, not at all. Instead, it defines fluency as being able to express your thoughts smoothly, even slowly.
Slowly. Interesting.
Yeah, even slowly. And that insight alone, if you really take it on board, it can just lift this huge weight off your shoulders.
I can see that.
And then the source builds on this. It emphasizes the often underestimated power of simple words. You just don't need a giant vocabulary to sound natural or confident.
Right.
Think about it. Instead of trying to say something complex like, I am extremely enthusiastic about photography, you get the same connection, maybe even better, just by saying, I really like taking pictures.
Yeah, much more direct.
It's direct, it's clear, and it sounds, immensely more natural.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It really frees you up to just engage, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which leads us nicely to another powerful idea. This is from chapter 8 in the source. Mistakes are your teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because the material argues that if you're not making mistakes, well, you're probably not pushing yourself enough.
Right.
You're staying safe in your comfort zone, and that means you're simply not learning or growing. That's quite a liberating perspective, but maybe a bit challenging too.
Oh, absolutely. It is. And it brings up a really important question. Okay, how do you actually learn from corrections without feeling, embarrassed or defensive?
Yeah.
The source offers this brilliant reframe about how view every correction as a free English lesson. Think about it. Someone's actually taking time to help you improve for free.
Ah, that's a good way to put it.
It is. So instead of that knee-jerk reaction, oh, sorry, my English is bad, which honestly can just invite pity or even stop the conversation, the book advises a simple, confident phrase, I'm still learning English. It just reframes it. It shifts the narrative from apology to, a statement about your learning journey.
That feels much more positive.
Exactly. And it even mentions, using a bit of humor sometimes when things go wrong, like a lighthearted, oops, guess my brain's still buffering that word. It can break tension and actually show confidence.
I really like that approach. It feels so much more empowering.
Yeah.
And it connects perfectly to those moments we all have, right? When you just don't know what to say.
Oh, yeah, the mental blank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The source tackles this in chapter 7, and it's reassuring. It says this is completely normal, like even for native speakers. It's not some personal failure. It's just, part of talking.
Precisely. And if we link this back to the bigger picture, it means you actually have tools, practical tools, for those awkward pauses or when your mind goes blank.
Okay, like what?
Well, the material suggests using fillers, things like, well, or let me see, or, that's a good question.
We're buying time.
Exactly, they're like strategic pause buttons, not signs of weakness. They buy you a few seconds to think. And crucially, it advises against guessing if you didn't understand.
Oh, that's important.
Very. It's much better to politely ask for repetition or clarification. Simple things like, sorry, could you say that again? Or maybe, could you explain what you mean by that? They're totally fine. They show you're actually engaged.
Good point.
And if you just completely forget a word, don't panic. The source says use simple words or just describe what you mean. If you forget exhausted, maybe say, I'm very, very tired. Like I could fall asleep right now.
Yeah, that works.
It totally conveys the meaning, and sometimes it even adds a bit of personality.
So, wrapping up this first big idea, what does this whole foundational mindset shift mean for you, the listener? It's really about moving past that paralyzing chase for perfection that's just unattainable, and instead focusing squarely on courage, on effort, and clarity. That's how you build real progress. It's like a genuine invitation to just jump in, knowing that every interaction, every little mistake, it's actually just a step forward.
Absolutely. A step on the path.
Okay, so now that we've kind of set that mental foundation, let's shift from the internal to the practical, the outward steps. How do you actually start conversations naturally? Chapter 2 in the source really emphasizes this. It says, it's less about being super witty or funny and much more about simply being friendly and confident, just approachable.
Yeah, it really just boils down to opening the door, doesn't it? Your basic greetings, hi, hello, good morning. Those are your first simplest tools.
The basic.
The absolute basics. Then you can move into what the source calls icebreakers. And these aren't like grand speeches. They're simple questions or comments just to get things rolling.
Right.
The material gives some good examples, like if you're somewhere new, maybe is this your first time here, works well. Or even just a genuine compliment like, oh, I like your jacket. Where did you get it?
Simple, but effective.
Very. And what's really interesting, and the source kind of highlights the psychology here, is how a simple, genuine smile, it just makes your greeting feel instantly warmer, more inviting.
Yeah, nonverbal stuff.
Exactly. It signals you're open, and it lowers the sort of social risk for the other person to respond.
It's amazing how much impact those little things have.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've opened the door. Now, how do we keep the conversation going? Keep it flowing. Chapter 3 points out a really crucial distinction, one that maybe gets overlooked.
Yeah.
The difference between closed questions, the yes-no kind, and open-ended questions. Now, you probably know these often start with what, where, why, how, maybe tell me about. But the insight here isn't just knowing them.
Right.
It's about using them strategically, right? When do you use a quick yes, no, and when do you really need that broader tell me about?
That's exactly where follow-up questions become, well, your absolute best friend in conversation.
Okay.
So if someone mentions they like hiking, right? Instead of just saying, oh, cool, and moving on, a great follow-up is, oh, that's great. Where do you usually go hiking?
Shows you're listening.
Totally. It shows you were listening and you're genuinely interested, and that is such a powerful connector. The source also emphasizes using polite reactions, things like really or wow, that sounds amazing, little verbal nods.
Right.
But the really insightful bit, I think, if we connect it to making real connections, is the advice to also share something about yourself.
Ah, yeah. Make it two-way.
Exactly. A conversation isn't an interview, right? It's a two-way street. So after you ask about their weekend, maybe share a little something back like, oh, cool. I mostly just relaxed and watched a movie. It makes it feel balanced.
That makes perfect sense. Those follow-up questions are like the glue. So building on that, the source then moves to something that, well, a lot of people kind of dread, but it argues is vital. Small talk, big impact. Chapter 4?
Yeah, small talk gets a bad rap sometimes.
It really does. Most people think it's boring, maybe pointless. But the source calls it the gateway to deeper conversation. It's happening constantly, in cafes, queues, even job interviews. Understanding its purpose changes everything.
And what's truly fascinating, the source actually points to some surprising data on this, is how the weather became the undisputed king of small talk.
Huh. Really? The weather.
Seriously, it's not just that it's neutral, it's a universal, real-time shared experience. And that lets us instantly find common ground, almost like magic. It reduces that initial social friction.
Huh. Never thought of it quite like that.
Yeah. And beyond weather, the source lists other common, safe, easy topics. Daily life and routines, food and drinks, weekend plans or free time, entertainment, movies, books, music.
Low stakes stuff.
Exactly. Low stakes, easy entry points. A simple starter like "No's day, isn't it? Got any plans to enjoy the sunshine later?" is often all it takes to break the ice and, open that door.
Right.
The source really highlights how these seemingly surface-level chats actually build a foundation of trust and rapport.
And the value of getting comfortable with these techniques, well, you just can't overstate it, can you? They turn potentially awkward interactions into comfortable, maybe even enjoyable chances to practice and connect.
Mm-hmm. Opportunity, not ordeal.
Exactly. It shifts your whole focus from anxiety to opportunity. Okay, let's take things up a level now, to a stage that makes conversations feel genuinely real. Expressing opinions and feelings. This is covered in Chapter 5. This is where you move beyond just facts and start sharing your unique viewpoint, right?
Yeah, and the source offers really simple but powerful, polite ways to do this. Phrases like, "I think," or "in my opinion," maybe "to me." They clearly signal you're offering your take, not stating some absolute fact.
Okay.
For agreeing, things like, "Exactly, that makes sense, I couldn't agree more," those are great. But the really critical part is how to disagree without being rude.
Ah, yes, the tricky bit.
It really is. This is where lots of people, even native speakers, can stumble. So instead of a blunt, "No, you're wrong," the source suggests softer approaches. Things like, "I'm not sure I agree," or "I see what you mean, but gentler." Yeah, or even, "That's an interesting perspective, I actually think." It allows for a genuine, respectful back and forth of ideas without causing offense or just shutting the conversation down. It encourages curiosity, not conflict.
That ability to disagree gracefully, that's a real superpower in any language, isn't it?
Definitely.
Which brings us to something truly fascinating and maybe often overlooked. Understanding tone and body language. Chapter 6. The source drops this surprising stat. More than half of communication is nonverbal.
Wow.
More than half. I mean, think about that.
Yeah.
Our words are only part of the picture.
It's a total game changer when you realize just how much unspoken information is flying around. What's really striking is how tone of voice alone can completely flip the meaning of the exact same words.
Right.
The source uses the classic example, "I'm fine." Said cheerfully, it means one thing. Said flatly or clipped, totally different message, right? Could be dismissive, even angry.
Yeah, we've all heard that one.
Exactly. Then you got the key bits of body language. Facial expressions. A smile is pretty universal for friendly, right? Eye contact. Getting that right amount shows confidence, engagement, without being, creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Gestures, how your hands move, can add emphasis or show enthusiasm. And posture, like an open stance, invites connection, whereas crossed arms can feel defensive.
Closed off.
Yeah. And the really critical takeaway from the source is about matching tone and words. You need
Right.
coherence for genuine communication. If your words say yes, but your body screams no, people usually believe the body language.
It's like learning a whole secret code inside English. And all of this, it kind of elevates the whole discussion to the ultimate goal, the real reward, building deeper connections. Chapter 9.
Mm-hmm.
This is where English stops being just a tool
Mm-hmm.
and becomes a real bridge between people. It allows for that truly meaningful human interaction.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture, fostering those deeper connections, it comes from a mix of conscious actions and just genuine presence, really.
How so?
Well, the source really emphasizes listening more than you speak. Not just waiting for your turn to talk, but actually hearing what the other person is saying, understanding.
Active listening.
Exactly. It also encourages sharing personal stories, even short, relatable ones. Think about how much more connected you feel when someone shares something small but personal, like, oh, when I first moved here, I felt so nervous and kind of overwhelmed.
Yeah, vulnerability builds bridges.
It really does. Build rapport, also critical. Expressing empathy and support. Simple phrases like, wow, that sounds really hard, or I can imagine how you must feel.
Yeah.
Using kind words and compliments. And even like we touched on, using humor to connect appropriately. It's about showing up as a real person and engaging with the other person's humanity.
That really is the magic of language, isn't it? When it
Yes.
facilitates that kind of connection. And of course, to make all this possible, it circles right back to the fundamental need for practicing English every day.
Chapter 10.
It's not about, grand gestures or expensive immersion trips necessarily. It's about weaving English into the fabric of your daily life, making it natural, integrated.
Which understandably raises a question for lots of people. How do you actually fit regular practice into an already packed life?
Yeah, where's the time?
Right. And the source gives really practical, achievable tips. It challenges the idea that you need these huge, dedicated study blocks. Instead, it urges you to find moments to practice everywhere.
Oh,
Like listening to podcasts, maybe this one, while you're commuting. Or labeling things around your house in English. Even just narrating your grocery list silently to yourself in English.
moments.
Tiny moments add up.
Yeah.
It also champions using technology apps, YouTube, online groups. They're accessible, powerful tools right in your pocket. And crucially, it says practice speaking daily, even to yourself.
To yourself.
Yeah. In the mirror, record your voice on your phone. Just think out loud in English. Setting small, achievable goals is key too, like aiming for one real English conversation a week.
Manageable steps.
Exactly. It also highlights active listening. Again, not just hearing words, but trying to grasp the context, the feeling behind them, and making sure to read and write a little every day. And like we said right at the start, remember, mistakes are your friends.
Yeah.
Every single one is just a signpost showing you where to grow next.
So bringing this all together, what does this entire journey mean for you listening right now? This isn't just about learning grammar rules or memorizing vocabulary lists. Not really.
No.
It's about unlocking a whole new way to connect with the world around you, making those interactions interesting, meaningful, genuinely rewarding. It's about building real progress, real confidence. It truly is like opening a door to new opportunities, new friendships, new ideas.
So maybe consider this. What's just one tiny, maybe imperfect English interaction you could try today? It could be super simple, a greeting to a barista, sharing an opinion with a colleague, maybe even just talking to yourself as you walk down the street. What's one small thing that will move you just one step closer to your fluency goal and connect you, even in a tiny way, to the wider English-speaking world?
That's a great thought to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into how to talk to people in English. Keep connecting, keep practicing, and keep growing. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.